And if Wesley wins this game, you just get the sense that he's going to be a runaway train this tournament.
Yeah, he's just a phenomenal player. Made it even look easy in that last game when things looked tricky. But he won't risk it too much. He's played the Berlin. Really depends what Castor wants to do. He decides to go for an anti-Berlin.
Applause. He doesn't go for the draw.
There you go. So very mainline stuff. Wesley has tons of experience, both with white and black, of course, in this position.
Yeah, bishop takes c6.
And Castor playing one of the most well-known lines. h3 is fine. And queen e7 all been played tons of times.
Yeah, this is a tremendously well-studied position, knight c3. I mean, every piece configuration has been played, has been studied. Bishop takes e3, bishop d6, bishop b4. I mean, everything is possible, but I know Wesley likes to put the bishop on d6. This is like the fashionable way of playing, and one of the ideas is to quickly clamp down in the center with a move c5, making it virtually impossible for white to break through with d4.
Right.
And queen e2, and I'm expecting at some point the move c5.
Yeah, so for example, if white castles queenside here, which your hand certainly might want to push it that way, c5 will come to prevent d4. Because I think if white gets in a timely d4, he's doing well. I wonder if you can play d4 immediately. Okay, a3 played instead.
Castles queenside, there we go. Now, this pawn on h3 might seem totally insignificant, but it's actually not. If white castles kingside, that pawn acts as a terrible, terrible hook. And once black pushes the pawn to g4, I mean, white, you can administer the last rights. It's over. So that's not an option. But now the other pawn, Lawrence, is also a hook. So if you castle queenside, there's the bishop takes a3 sack you have to reckon with. So here's d4.
There is d4. And is Wesley just going to take knight d4 and then just play something calm like bishop d7? But then it feels as though white has achieved something. e4 on the board.
Yes,
bishop d4 is playable and played.
And played indeed. Threat is obviously e5. Wesley has to devise a response to that. Bishop c5 comes to mind. Yeah, bishop c5 actually looks sleek.
See, I was about to say, what about just c5?
Accompanied with a draw offer.
Well, I think he's taking this draw offer.
Yeah, I mean,
I'll be very surprised. No, he says no.
He just doesn't care. I mean, he's so experienced. He's not afraid of anybody. His Castor.
Wow.
But Wesley's not. I mean, it's a little bit odd to decline the draw against Wesley in a position like this. Two bishops again. I would take black here despite the bet pawn structure because the two bishops are very nicely placed in the center. I don't know about this, Lawrence. Usually I mean, this is commendable, but is it wise?
I don't know. It feels a little bit loosey-goosey to me, but you do still have control of some key squares. I'm not sure how bad it is for black, honestly speaking.
Queen 3, queen c7.
I mean, does f5 exist? Queen c7? F5, e5, I'm blundering, excuse me. Queen c7 I like.
King b1. I mean, there's going to be a
What about just something like b6 here, Daniel, to put the king on b7, consolidate the structure?
I mean, I think we're going to see something to that effect. We're going to see slow improving chess for the next 10, 15 years. Maybe h5 is going to happen at some point to liberate the rook because you want to bring... Oh, there it is. But I feel like Wesley's going to start out playing Rodrigo here. I just get that feeling that this is a Wesley type of position. You know what I mean?
Yes, I do. And now, but why can't I go e5 here?
Why can't you go e5 here? I think it just moves the bishop back.
Yeah, but then I've managed to like get some, and now I play something classy like knight e2 and put the knight on f4. Knight e2, bishop d5. I have to be careful because
that's the thing.
d5 is.
Yeah, e5 is giving away the square on d5.
Okay, so h4. Okay, this is perfectly reasonable.
Yeah, now bishop d5 is, of course, still possible, but I wouldn't necessarily abandon the f5 pawn like this. What to do for black here? Rook he8 is also possible. So again, one of those cagey positions where both sides have to try to slowly improve their position. e5, or I guess not so slowly.
Well, this is one of those moves that's obviously you play happily in a game of blitz, and in a game of classical you think about it twice, right? But here with the pawn mass and the fact that the bishop can sneak out to b6 or a5, I kind of like it actually. But the computer is not impressed. Knight g5.
Okay. Doesn't really create any threats per se. So maybe a move like king b7 would be in Wesley's style.
Yeah.
Oh, played. Yeah, he's just
now
he's so comfortable in these positions.
Yeah.
Although the
now White has to be a little bit careful because actually ideas of c4, a5, b4, maybe there might be some knight a4. You've got to be a little bit careful how you organize it. But this pawn mass, you start to open files on the queen side here. Like I expect c4 here. It feels intuitively to give the bishop some room as well. But again, I don't know.
Wow,
I would be very tempted. Or bishop b6, rook d4.
Yeah, play down the d file. Maybe White wants to throw in queen f3 and set up the threat of knight takes b5. Also, we shouldn't fall asleep on the h5 pawn because in the event of queen f3, you could create a situation where either White gets control of the d file or White wins the h5 pawn. So here, I think queen f3 could be actually very, very unpleasant for Black. Let's watch. Wow, the eval bar creeping up in White's favor. Oh, queen f3 is b4. Oh, queen f3, there's b4.
Why b4?
Because I want to play bishop d5. So he takes it first. And I think now he's going to play queen f3 and get control of the d file. And he does. And if Black plays b4 now, then maybe knight b5 and knight d6 check.
Wow, he let it happen.
He let it happen, and
he wants queen a2.
Queen a2, which is very scary, by the way, for Black, for White. No, but I think knight b5. If we look concretely, queen a2, knight d6 check, and I have simply an escape square on d2. Rodrigo is outplaying him, and he plays it.
Yeah.
And Wesley, I think, completely forgot that once the knight lands on d6, it cuts off the rook, which means the king has an easy escape square on d2, and you can play queen b3 there to force a favorable queen trade. Oh, my lands.
Yeah, I'm very bullish on Rodrigo now.
I'll be honest, I was fully expecting a Wesley type of positional grind, but Rodrigo's doing a Wesley on Wesley. He's giving him a taste of his own medicine so far. Maybe bishop c7, maybe it's time to admit that your strategy has failed.
Nothing worse than admitting that you're wrong in chess, Daniel.
One of the worst feelings. Yeah, no, it's honestly the ego.
Especially those times where you make a move and you have to go exactly back to the previous square on the very next move, and you just want to put that little dunce hat on and say, "Excuse me for being such a dunce."
Yeah, my old coach Grigory Kaidanov would call that saying sorry.
Yeah,
it's never easy to say sorry.
Exactly.
Wesley says, sorry, bishop c7 is practically speaking the only serious defensive chance. Okay, so what does white do now? AB.
Sensible.
Now, queen a2 is possible now that the bishop on c7 covers the d6 square. In fact, I think it makes more sense than it did on the previous move. You know what I'm saying?
And then does he want to go knight d6?
But then bishop takes.
E takes. And then queen a1 and rook takes d6. Sorry,
check and then take, and I start hunting your king.
And we might be losing.
So after queen a2,
we can take with the rook.
Queen a3.
Daniel, in that line, sorry, we've got rook d6. Yeah. Luckily,
but then maybe takes and rook d8 somehow, and black starts to complicate the game. Oh, BC, yeah. So I guess I have to play CB. Well, let's see what he does, because queen a2 is on the board.
Okay.
I was originally thinking queen a3 would follow, but the engine apparently doesn't like that move. Probably just because of queen takes a3 and CB, and black is all right in the endgame. The g3 pawn is also a long-term weakness that white should be careful about. He's offered another draw. Now, this is interesting. A second draw offer by Wesley. And this one is also declined.
Knight c3.
Whoa.
Very interesting move. His idea is queen a1 check, knight b1.
It's the top
and
move.
Then if c takes... Sorry?
It's the top move.
Yeah, so queen a1, knight b1, cb4, and now queen b3, precisely.
And you're aiming at these two
this
pawns.
is a great... Well spotted.
This has been phenomenally executed by Vasquez. Let's see how he follows this up, though. The position remains very complex. CB is going to happen, and then queen b3 must be his idea. But the reason I remain optimistic about Wesley's chances is because the bishop is going to make an appearance on b6, and it's going to threaten to move into e3. White's king is not going to be safe for a very long time in this game. Wow.
Yeah.
Okay, what is Wesley thinking about? CB is forced. Or is there something I'm missing? Yeah, CB played. There's queen b3. And I'm guessing bishop b6 is what we're going to see. No, back to a5.
No.
And can white just snag that pawn on f7?
Snap on f7?
I don't see why not. And probably neither does Vasquez.
He should take this pawn.
And he should do it quickly because he's down to 320. Yeah, maybe he's trying to figure out, like, does Wesley have something in his pocket? But no, he doesn't. Wow. Queen c5. Can you grab on f5? I mean, it's a very hard move to play because queen e3 check looks scary, but I think after knight d2, there's nothing concrete.
Yeah, I would take on f5 here.
Back to b3
does
instead.
Not.
And that
trying to keep control.
Apparently.
But okay, knight d2?
Yeah, but
knight d2?
This position has lost a lot of its luster. Like bishop b6. Oh. And
maybe a4?
Rook a8. No, he goes rook d4.
Knight f3?
A4.
Oh
A4.
My goodness.
And your idea, Lawrence, is
rook a8.
And then rook takes d1 first.
And rook a8.
First, even a check? Or no.
Really?
Rook a8 first. Rook a8 first, check, and devastating
and
check
queen
on
f2.
f2. This is happening.
Oof.
He's blundered it, and Wesley's going to win. And look at how quickly he sees it. White has missed queen f2 check in that line. Oh, this is going to be a cold shower. And Wesley wins the game. Queen f2 check, driving the king out and losing all of his pieces. Damn, what a frustrating game. I mean, he outplayed Wesley in the middle game. Flat out.
Yeah.